Sound check. So I'm Elliot Barbour. I've been racing cars since 2007. Started at the age of 16, which at the time in Australia was the youngest you could actually get your racing licence. I'm still currently racing professionally in Australia, and I'm also full-time working in the family business. So family sort of led me into the path of racing. So my dad raced at like a state level. My uncle was an Oscar champion here in Australia, and so I grew up out at Calder Park watching him, and then also supporting my dad around in the state series. So definitely had a family influence that I guess gave me the appetite to want to go racing. Dealing with setbacks in motorsport is really hard because there's more setbacks than what there is, great days. There's more times that you're not on the podium than you are, and that's just motorsport. It's a tough sport. You've got to have good preparation. So if you're prepared every time you go on the track, you've done everything you can in your control, then you're less likely to dwell on the bad times and it's just put it down to dumb luck or whatever it is. So I try and be as prepared as I can, as physically fit as I can before each race. And that way, if something does go wrong, I know I've done everything in my power to control what I can, and sometimes shit happens. Fitness does play a major part of motorsport. Probably not so much in controlling the car. It can. It can make me be more consistent and not make as many mistakes, which I guess creates performance across the race. It's about 50 to 60 degrees in the car, plus I'm wearing all my fireproof gear. So it is extremely hot, so it's kind of like running on a treadmill in a sauna, I guess. If you were someone that hadn't had that type of fitness jump in a race car, you would find it very hard to concentrate for more than a lap. If I could give a younger Elliot or myself some, advice if I was starting again, would be to take every opportunity that comes, put yourself out there more. One thing that I think doing the podcast and what I'm doing now in my life that's helped me with my racing has been putting myself out there more. Motorsport's a very financially taxing sport. It costs a lot of money to go racing, to put the sponsors and the commercial partnerships together. And the only way people are going to back you is if you back yourself. So I think putting myself out there, which I'm getting better at now later in life, has helped. So I would tell my younger self, if I was getting back into it again, just put yourself out there, take all the phone calls, pick up the phone, speak to the people you need to speak to, and don't be scared for rejection, because driving the race car is the easy part. Raising the money and building the team and everything around it is the hard stuff. Actually, the physical driving is the easiest part. So I would tell myself to go be better at the other stuff and probably pay more attention at school. So Scott and a good mate of mine, Scotty, and I created a podcast called Apex Hunters United. One of my sponsors actually is Shure Microphones. So they gave us a heap of microphones, and when we were playing around with them, doing a live stream one day, we were drinking beers on the couch, and I opened a can of beer into it, and we just mucked around and said sound check, and then it just sort of took off. So all of our fans and our audience they grabbed onto it and they run with it now. So it's become, a catchphrase now. It's on our merchandise. We sell stubby holders that have sound check, and every time we start a show now, an episode, we crack a can into a microphone and we say sound check before we start every episode. Yeah, it's just crazy how it's blown up into this big thing now. And we go to a racetrack, and Scott was racing in New Zealand last weekend, and guys were coming up to him yelling out sound check. I've been at the pub where people have come up and said sound check to me, and so yeah, it's caught on. It's really cool. The importance of the podcast to myself and Scott is we wanted to give the fans a transparent look into the industry. There's heaps of supercars fans. We don't just cover supercars now. We've delved into Formula One and IndyCar and NASCAR and some other forms of motorsport globally. But the fans that are so in love with our sport don't necessarily know what's happening on the inside. And because Scott was a professional supercar driver for 10, 12 years, I've raced at a professional level too, we can give fans that insight as well. So it's become really quite popular, and for us it's just a way to be super transparent with all the motorsport fans on what is actually happening. Because I guess mainstream media can sometimes spin a narrative or write an agenda, which isn't always the fact. So podcast has allowed Scott and I to express ourselves, put ourselves out there, and express some of the challenges that, the public don't get to see. So when you have a bad day, we can come on the pod and say, well, this is why we had a bad day, this failed, or I made a mistake, or whatever happened. So I think for us, it's allowed us to give a full story. And we've also got that eye to be able to see what's happening on the races that we're not involved in, on what's truly happening, and then relay that as well. So we've got to put ourselves out there, which has been great. It's been really fruitful for us because we've had a lot of commercial partners come on. It's helped me with my racing as well. And yeah, we're really growing something special here with Apex Hunters United. So it's really cool. People can find Apex Hunters United pretty much anywhere. We're on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. So anywhere you get your podcast or you listen to your podcast, you can grab it on there. But we also shoot all the episodes too in video as well. So YouTube is really popular. We do live shows, so they get to sit in live, they fire us questions, we chat to them, we engage with them live, we do things like that, call-ins, we do voice memos, so people ring up and tell us what they thought of a race or an episode. It gets pretty loose and pretty funny. So pretty much all the social platforms we're on, and yeah, whether it be audio or video, we sort of cover all angles.